Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 192 for July 6th, 2016. Yes, you had to stare at my ugly face during that whole intro instead of the professionally made title card that I usually prepare prior to starting the show, which I didn't prepare this week. So let's just say we're starting tonight a little later than normal, just a little later, not much, but it's just been a parade of technical issues. So that was the last one, and that one I've got to own because I just screwed it up. It wasn't some mysterious software reboot or poltergeist or anything like that. So let me shut up, and other than to say I'm Russell Frost from PriusOwnersGroup.com, visit me there. Welcome to What Drives Us, and here are the panelists that are going to make this show much better than I could possibly make it. The man in the work uniform, he's been working all day, but he's staying an extra hour just for each one of you, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey guys, nice to be back on the air in hot Colorado.
It was only 99 here today.
It was like 93 here.
Oh.
But no humidity, or very little.
Just.
Thing that sucks is our shop doesn't have air conditioning, so you kind of feel it.
Ow. Do you have like those big industrial fans?
The big ass fans? No.
Yeah.
There's actually a company called Big
Ass Fans. Yeah, I just blocked them on Facebook because I got tired of their ads.
Yeah, but hey, Paul, don't the cars you work on have air conditioning?
Yeah, but you can only like change so many touch screens out, you know.
Yeah.
And then like you have to do something outside of the car.
I see. Paul's like, yeah, I did.
Whatever your car came in for, yeah, you need a touchscreen. You need a steering wheel. You need radio. We only work on interior parts.
Yeah.
And the car has to be ready.
Yeah. We're only detailing the interior of cars until the heat goes away. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
But if you turn all the cars on, roll down the windows, and crank up their air conditioning, you should be able to cool the entire garage.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Unfortunately, the carbon dioxide will before that happens.
After you die from monoxide poisoning.
And that's why EVs are better than internal combustion engines.
Bingo.
Right. Okay. I'm seeing this as realistic. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of realistic, our man in Chicago, you've known him. He's the oldest panelist. No, he's not the oldest, but he's the panelist who's been here the longest. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Episode number one.
Number one. Numero uno, baby.
And his name happens to be still Tony Schaefer.
Yeah, nothing's changed there. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. And I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. Except those of you in Canada, in which case I hope you had a good Monday.
Hey, last week they had Canada Day.
Yeah, I was going to say, although a belated Canada Day. Wait, I actually looked this up. Joyeux Jeu de Canada? Something like that.
That's what the Frenchies say.
Was that French?
That's the Frenchie. Yeah.
I had no idea, Schaefer. That's impressive. Yeah. Well, before we further embarrass ourselves with our language skills, let's introduce our man in Canada in the Chevy Volt, Mr. Mark Coghlan.
Hello, everybody. Yes, July 1st was Canada Day, and we had a fabulous long weekend. So, thank you, Tony. That was great.
do you set up fireworks and scare pets in Canada too?
Of course. Yep, we do that exactly.
Okay.
And I do have some breaking news I'm just going to share with the group.
Oh,
that no one was prepared for, Russell.
Breaking. I didn't even have the title card up.
We just got this installed. Our group, Waterloo Regional Voltech, finally got our charger installed in Southwest Kitchener. It just got plugged in today. So we're quite happy that it's now, well, it's almost functioning. They had a breaker off today, but I'm sure it will be functioning shortly. So congratulations to the Waterloo Regional Volt Group for getting that in place. We're charging Canada one charger at a time.
Excellent.
And is that free to the public, or you have to be a member, or how does that work?
It's free to the public. It's at a strip mall. And
strip club, you said?
No, strip mall.
Do they have this in Canada?
They have. It's a furniture store. Tepperman's is the name of the group, and yeah, it's free to use. So anyone that happens to be in Kitchener, feel free to swing by and get a charge.
Wow.
and patronize that furniture store.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, did you guys paid for it?
No, we were in an EV race last year, and we won it as a prize. Our club did. So
Cool.
that was great. We thought we would get it placed somewhere within the city limits, which we have successfully done.
Oh, well, congrats. What was the name of the furniture store again?
Tepperman's.
Tuckerman's. Well,
Tepperman's.
Tepperman's.
What do they sell?
TEPP.
Furniture, I guess.
Like what kind of furniture? Bedroom furniture, dining room?
The whole deal. They do all furniture, and they do some electronics as
How
well.
about Chesterfields? Do they sell Chesterfields?
They sell lots of Chesterfields. Yep.
Is Paul, is this a new thing for you?
What's that?
The furniture interest?
No.
No. He was just trying to get to say Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. And this is a chain of furniture stores?
Yes, they're based in southwest Ontario, and they're moving into our area. This is the first store that they moved into the central Ontario with. So.
Excellent. They're at 1415 Huron Road in Kitchener, Ontario.
Cool.
Bingo.
So visit them, or you can visit them at Tepperman.
And if you buy something, say you went there because they have EV charging in their parking lot.
That's exactly how you do it.
Please do. Yeah, please do. And yeah. And you saw it on One Drive. No, they don't care about One Drive. Because I want to get my friend Paul a free Chesterfield.
Right.
Is that a sofa?
That's the Canadian word for sofa, yes.
No. I thought that was a style of sofa. That's the Canadian word for sofa?
Pretty
I
much.
thought you guys were joking. Yeah, the Chesterfield is what we call them.
A Chesterfield?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
what you said on when you watch TV.
No. Sofa, 2 syllables. You, in Canada, call it a Chesterfield.
We never
wait
said
till you hear what they call a napkin.
Serviette.
Yeah. A napkin.
Serviette.
Yeah, that's French. I get that. But a Chesterfield? Okay. It's like 9:18 and we've talked about nothing so far.
And Mark, what do they call gutters in Canada?
East troughs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I've heard that a little bit in Wisconsin. You get that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's a little... Well, yay, Tepperman's. I got nothing else. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Let's start with the news. This week, on a certainly not very humorous vein, it was reported that Tesla lost their first driver while that driver was using Autopilot. And as you might expect, there was a flurry of opinion, both informed and otherwise, about this fatality. Obviously, this is something that was inevitable. So I do want to at least spin it originally in this context. That let's keep in mind that people, more than 30,000 people a year die in motor vehicles. That doesn't make this one death any less tragic, but let's also not place more emphasis on this than is reasonable. Because if we were really that concerned, we would probably do something about the other 30,000 people that die needlessly in motor vehicle accidents. And cars are safer than ever before. I don't think there's any argument about that. But this new technology has raised up a whole host of issues. So rather than me continuing to blather, I've set it up. Do you guys have an opinion on this? Have you seen anything that you thought was especially well written or salient?
I mean, other than the fact that it's new technology, there's going to be some hiccups till they figure it out. I mean, I was reading something back when the Model T days, people were getting into accidents because they were saying, whoa, whoa, and the car wasn't stopping and they would drive into a tree or something. So, it's really sad and unfortunate, but I guess it would be interesting to see what the driver was actually doing when it happened. Was it his fault? Was he being a goof? Was he, playing cards in the back seat, or was he actually paying attention to what was going on?
Well, that was one of the wrinkles in this story, and I do want to say that in one article that I read, it's speculation, and allegedly it was the owner of the semi that he hit said that the owner of the semi went to the Tesla after it had wrecked, and he heard, didn't visually confirm, but said that he heard Harry Potter, a Harry Potter movie playing in the car. Now, you have to really know your Harry Potter movies to be able to hear a snippet and identify the movie.
Unless it was going, Harry, oh, Harry, Harry Potter.
But then also, in the same article, it said that the driver of the semi who claimed to have heard Harry Potter didn't mention it previously, and the whole Harry Potter thing didn't come up until a while later when he was talking to the police. Like, he didn't say it right off the bat to say, here's what happened. Also reports that the one witness said that this guy had passed her on the road, and she admitted that she was doing 85 miles an hour. So clearly it seems that there was some recklessness involved.
I guess, does the Tesla Autopilot allow you to break the law? Like, can you say go 90 miles an hour, or does it respect the speed limit?
I believe it can break the speed limit.
Yeah, it's like any cruise control, I would imagine, that you set the speed and it goes there.
Right.
Which is interesting, because if it didn't, then what do you think the backlash would be? You know?
Yeah, that's true. People want to break the law.
People want to break the law. Hey, speaking of which, I want to show this little tidbit here, because I think this is important to see. That's Elon Musk's wife. That's she's driving a Model X. Well, excuse me, her Model X is driving her. Now.
And which wife is this?
I don't know. It just says Tallulah Riley, Elon Musk's wife, demonstrating autopilot in the Model X.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
That's where I think we have the problem here.
I mean, I don't know that that's I don't know. That's not damning or anything like that. But let's be realistic. When we give people something that says autopilot, and we tell them it's autopilot, guess what they're going to do? What was the first thing we talked about in the autonomous driving Rolls-Royce? What are people going to do? You know,
the 0-foot elevation club.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. People are going to do. Some people are going to do irresponsible things. Now, that said, I don't want to lay this at the hand of the driver. I do think it's interesting that the white truck and the bright white sky and the high truck basically were a set of circumstances that the Tesla's autopilot couldn't handle. On top of the fact that I guess it was coming from the other side of the road. Is that what happened?
Apparently, yeah. From what I could piece together, it had turned left in front of.
In front of the car.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess I'm wondering then, if something turned left in front of him, why he had cruise control on in the first place.
No, it was so think of a at-grade divided highway.
Okay, so this is like a state road kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And so this guy apparently thought that he had enough space to turn left in front of the oncoming car, but depending on the speed this guy was traveling, and he may have been up on that trailer before the semi, the semi driver may have seen him a long way away and said, "I got this," and didn't realize
he was going 98 miles an hour.
Didn't realize
right.
he was going that fast.
Did anybody get the black box out of the car and see how fast it was going at the time of impact?
Not that I've heard yet.
Tesla has not. Tesla has said that they've gotten the box out. They have read the data. This was back last month, but it took them a few weeks to read all the data. But they have not stated publicly how fast the car was going, which I thought was interesting. Because one would think that would be a very important point to make.
Yeah, and we know how Elon can send out tweets, just a real quick, wasn't us kind of thing. He's real quick to shoot those things down. But I think maybe he's getting his first dose of someone actually died in your product.
Right.
Right.
Isn't it going to be a problem though? Like going forward, like this is a brave new world. People are getting used to it. But if you drive that car for a long period of time and it performs flawlessly in your drives,
Right.
you are going to depend more and more on the autonomous system. And you are going to get more brave with every passing day that the system performs flawlessly. And at some point, you're just handing over control.
Yeah.
And we as humans, that's exactly what we do. We trust, and then all of a sudden it's fact. So I don't know what to say. I don't think I would want to trust the vehicle that much to the point where now I believe it's second nature that it's going to perform in the right ways at all the times. And that may be some of what happened here as well.
I hate to take this stand, but I'm gonna, or take this position, but I'm going to, because in the past I've been the jerk who made fun of Tesla for calling things ludicrous mode or whatever. I think having fun as a business is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy that's like, you must be professional and all. I get it. Having fun is good. It's human, and it's humanizing in a very dehumanized corporate world. That said, if you call something autopilot, that implies things that I think every adult thinks about as autopilot, and it doesn't necessarily mean keep your hands on the wheel and your foot hovered over the brake.
Right.
It means the car's piloting itself. And what do you want me to say? I mean, I think it's the name of the product isn't the problem, but that is part of the way that Tesla has marketed that vehicle, and I think that's an issue. Danny Cooper and I were having an interesting discussion the other day, and we were talking about this and about a story we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. And I've kind of come around on this whole autonomous driving thing, and I don't want to say that I've changed completely, but I'm seeing another side of it, and I'm wondering if we're not just chasing our tails here and wasting time and money with autonomous cars. Because the money and time that we're going to spend on this, on autonomous driving, on changing infrastructure and research and development and all of that, could we just build some more trains or make some more buses so that those autonomous vehicles can take people where they want to go safely? Well, they're not perfect either, but I mean, so anyway, I was going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
The problem with society is people want to be in control of when and where they go, and they want their own private car. As great as public transit can be, it's a tough sell in a lot of places.
And for better or worse, there's a lot of places in the United States that are just not designed for that. The density just doesn't work. Right. And that's absolutely legitimate. Absolutely, Paul. And as big a public transit fan as I am, it's not going to work in a suburban sprawl, low-density, small city. It's going to work better in a high-density, more urban environment.
Right.
But again, in the big picture, right, this is like it's a pot of money, and we're going to do this with it or we're going to do that with it. But we're probably not going to do both things with it. And
I think the train has left the station, though. I really think that all these different groups, they have decided they are going full bore into this automation. And you hear nothing except companies saying they are automating their vehicles over and over again. For better or for worse, that's where the money's going to be spent.
Go ahead.
I do think that perhaps it could be, like you said, the naming behind it, because Elon Musk has often alluded to the autonomous vehicle, but at the same time he always backpedals, like in the same breath, and says it's a safety, it's you always have to pay attention, you always have to have your hands on the wheel, it's not complete autonomy. And I think if it was, I hate to say rebranded, but if it was actually more presented as It's designed to help you avoid accidents instead of this is designed to drive you without any assistance from you from point A to point B, because that's what people think
Right.
it's supposed to, and do it at ludicrous speed.
Well, other manufacturers call some of these systems, collision avoidance systems or occupant safety systems. They spin it differently, even though they do a lot of the same kind of things. So.
Yeah. There's lane keep. There's some of the cars will vibrate or even some
haptic butt cheeks.
Right.
We did that story.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is like version 0.2 of the technology. I mean, it's just going to get better, and it's unfortunate that people are going to get injured and even die along the way. But like any new system, it's just going to take time to perfect. And hopefully Tesla engineers is learning how to distinguish between white trucks and a white sky, and this kind of thing won't happen in the future.
Yeah, Elon alluded to he put forth the idea. So he alluded to the fact, quote unquote, that perhaps it was that the cars are designed to not think that overhead signs are dangers. And so he alluded to perhaps the car saw the truck up high, misinterpreted it, that the radar saw it and thought it was an overhead sign on an interstate and ignored it. Just that perhaps that's what it was.
That's kind of a big radar mistake.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying, look, obviously it was a tall truck, but trucks are tall. And obviously the Model
and trucks
S
have writing on them.
Yeah, and obviously the Model S, I mean, the other part of this crash, that, as I understand it, was the fatal part, was that the car went under the truck, and the trailer sheared off the top of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? So none of the standard Tesla safety systems. I mean, this was a freak accident by any definition.
Let me ask you this: do you guys remember the guy who Tesla said he summoned his car? And his car drove around and then hit the back of a truck?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you remember the conversation we had at the time criticizing the fact that the Tesla did not stop for something that was higher than its own bumper, because it hit the truck almost exactly right at the base of the windshield.
Right.
Yeah.
If the summoned car had been moving at 95 miles an hour, it would have sheared the top right off.
Yep.
And an airbag wouldn't have been any help, as it wasn't here. I don't know. I mean, there's no easy answers, but I do think these are good discussions to have. Please.
I have one last thought.
Please.
From me. I did a little bit of research, not much. It was actually, trust me, I'm very lazy. One Google search is all it took for me to come up with the name Lieutenant Thomas Selfridge. And Lieutenant Thomas Selfridge died September 17th, 1908. You want to guess?
He drove his Model T into a truck?
No, it wasn't a Model T. It was another technology that was shut down because of fear of fatality.
Oh. First airplane, I have no idea.
He was the first airplane fatality, and as soon as that happened, they shut it down, and not another airplane ever flew again. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I mean, just examples of, and like Paul said earlier, people got in cars and they didn't fully understand them, and people died.
Right.
And people got in airplanes and people died, and people still get into cars and get into airplanes.
Yep.
So
Sure.
this guy,
People got into ocean liners that were unsinkable.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, this guy has the he's now known to be the first person to ever die in an autonomous vehicle.
All right.
I guarantee you he won't be the last because autonomous vehicles are not going away.
Did you guys also hear that this same person was someone that posted on YouTube about successfully avoiding an accident about 3 weeks earlier?
Mm-hmm.
So he had that video post where a truck, a utility vehicle, was coming across his lane, and the car was able to detect it and avoid a crash. So he was praising the system at that point. It's just kind of ironic that 3 weeks later it didn't work.
And sad. And sad. You know, Musk made that point in one of his responses about this fatality. That, you know, I mean, you also have to look at the lives that Teslas have saved, whether it's through collision avoidance or the safety rating or whatever. And there's no doubt about that. I don't think there's any question. Just like there's, you know what I mean? There's no, like, you don't get to do one and the other. I mean, it's just both are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one doesn't make the other right. Hey, we saved 10 people, but we lost 4, so net win for the week. You know?
But I agree with what you said, Russell, earlier. Every year, cars overall get safer, and more lives are being saved. People are walking away from horrific accidents because of the crumple zones, the airbags, the automatic braking. So, yes, it's unfortunate when someone gets hurt or killed in a car wreck, but compared to the old days, I mean, come a long way.
Oh, yeah. Unless they install an elk guard in front of their Prius.
Right.
And then they're doomed.
Yeah.
They're just doomed.
That crash test that Paul shared with us a while back of the 1950 something.
Yeah, it was like a 57 Chevy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
54?
And it's like pure death.
Oh, yeah.
In a wreck.
In a 3,000-pound steel box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're riding in a coffin with a V8, basically. Oh, yeah, yeah. Your whole vehicle's a crumple zone, sir. Enjoy it.
The crumple zone is the dash immediately in front of your face.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you are the airbag.
Yeah.
From that happy subject, let's go into something a little bit more exciting. Paul, why don't you talk about your story?
Okay. So some good news in the plug-in car front. Month of June was a record for plug-in cars. Let's see, they sold a total of, where was it here? Sorry, I'm on the wrong screen.
I'm going to put them up on the screen so everybody can read them while we
let's
talk.
do that.
There you go.
So many thousands of plug-in cars.
64,000.
Almost 16,000 plug-in cars.
Yeah, 16.
What's pretty cool is Tesla alone accounted for 6,000 of those cars, or close to 6,000, between their Model S and their Model X. Chevy Volt was right behind them. Disappointing numbers came from Mitsubishi, the iMEV. They sold 4.
Where do people even get those?
I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? I saw one today on my drive-in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you saw one of 4 that were sold last month.
It's a limited edition.
What number did it have on the door, Paul? Or Tony?
Yeah.
And Mitsubishi still hasn't released the plug-in Outlander, but they keep talking about it. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Surprisingly, the Ford Fusion Energy sold 1,700 units. Nissan Leaf, only around 1,000. You'd think they'd be selling more, but collectively, the plug-in cars in the month of June outsold any other month to date. So that's very encouraging that people are still buying the plug-in cars, and I think a lot of it, perhaps the Model 3 Tesla got people thinking about and considering these cars, and people wanted something without waiting. So it's really good news for the plug-in industry. Even with cheap gas, sales are going up, which is really good to see.
One of the neat things that Inside EVs does with this chart is they show last year's results for the month. And so you can see that last year was, over 10,000. Now they're showing 15,000. So, you know, a good statistician or someone would say that is literally a 50% increase.
Yeah.
Month over month. Yeah.
Although they only sold 11 plug-in Priuses. But
since it's been out of production for over a year, that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
They were all from one dealer.
Yeah.
Marked them down.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, in fact, there was something I posted, or it's going to be posted tomorrow on the Prius Owners Group, was that a car site, I think in the UK, called the Prius plug-in like one of the best used EV values.
They are, because they don't cost much more than a regular Prius. And for a lot of people, you know, the 12-mile range really helps improve their overall MPGs. Well,
there you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it's interesting. I mean, you know, the car's successful in death.
Yeah.
To speak, you know, more successful than it was when it was around.
And just a side note to those numbers, the Canadian numbers were just released, and the Volt had a huge jump. 320 cars were sold in Canada, Volts, as opposed to the last month of 270. So that's their largest increase and a record for any car sold.
So per capita, the Volt is selling better in Canada than in the U.S.
It is.
Yeah.
Because the Canada has much smaller population.
Well, now that you got that new public charging spot, it makes perfect sense.
I think we're going to run out. They're just.
Well, and I think, and what's gas in Canada now? Like $4 a gallon or something?
Yeah, it's a buck. What is it? A $1.05 or a $1.05 a liter. So that's 3.8 times $1.05.
Yeah, ouch.
So $4.
And it's like $1.95 here.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, I'm paying
so it makes more sense to have a fuel-efficient car here for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of making sense, Green Car Reports did a report yesterday, in fact, on with a really good, simple headline, and I love this. What buyback, cash, do I get if I bought a VW diesel after September 18th? So let's discuss this, because we've discussed the VW scandal.
Dieselgate? Are we calling it Dieselgate?
Dieselgate. We're calling it lying German bastards. That's what we're calling it.
Isn't there a movie called that? Tarantino's
yeah, I like that. Yeah, that was a great movie, by the way.
That movie had a lot less bloodletting than the Volkswagen scandal.
Yeah. Actually, maybe a little more honesty too. So here's the basic deal. The deal that they've worked out is that September 18th, 2015 is a big, very important date if you're a Volkswagen owner, because that was the day that VW's cheating was announced by the EPA. So if you bought a car before September 18th, you bought a VW diesel affected by this, you get the payout from Volkswagen for your vehicle. If you bought it after that, you get half. I'm not sure why that's fair.
Their logic is a little interesting.
Yeah.
Their thought is, anyone who had it before the announcement came out was duped.
Right.
Anyone who got it after should have known, and they ended up buying they bought the car from someone who was duped. So the person who was duped gets half, and you get half.
Yes.
So even a person who has moved on from their quote-unquote clean diesel and they bought something else, they get reimbursed for a car they don't even own anymore, and you get half for the car that you're stuck with and has zero resale value.
Well, I mean, obviously not zero, and obviously if they resold it after it was announced, they probably took some kind of hit on the resale.
Right.
But
well, not if they were selling it to someone who didn't have any idea. I mean, that's the best
Didn't
part.
pay attention to the news.
do you have the internet? No, then you want to buy my diesel next week.
I have a special deal for you.
That's a double duping.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of clean diesel, my friend? Well, I've got one.
That's right.
I don't know how this is fair or how this is going to work out. In a way, it seems like.
But who came up with the plan? Was it like VW came up? You'd think that some EPA or some government agency would say these are how we're going to do it.
As I understand it, this was negotiated between the EPA and VW. As I understand it, both parties agree that this is the way the settlement would be structured and handled. Now, who dictated what to whom? I don't know.
Right.
But either way, it's a debacle. And once again, I
don't know. They're loading up the freighters to send those cars to Africa.
To Africa, right. Well, you know what? Maybe that's the best thing for them.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
No.
Then I take it back. And speaking of taking things back, I'm going to go to Tony for the next article.
Well, I would like to revive a long-lost, what used to be a regular segment on this show. And that segment was called Danny's Honda Rant.
You know what? I don't have that special effects board anymore, Tony. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I know, but you did a nice job of simulating it.
Well, thank you. So Danny, back in the day, was notorious for just ripping on Honda for just about anything. And back in the day, they had it coming just about every chance.
Still do.
Yeah. In 2010, Honda introduced the CRZ, what they were calling the Fun Hybrid. It was a two-seater, two-door coupe with a hatch, and it was a hybrid, 130 horsepower, up to 140 foot-pound of torque, depending on whether you got the standard 6-speed manual or the optional CVT. It was supposed to be the high-mileage sports car that's fun to drive.
And they sold like 12 of them, right?
It was, well, they, according to the numbers, they did a little better than that. According to the numbers, as many as 18. No, actually, in the first year, this is how you know that you've got a dud on your hands, because just like a movie that opens up in the theater, you look at the first weekend to gauge,
Right.
what people are thinking. In the first year on the market, it sold 5,200 units.
Wow.
Something that Honda was, I don't know if y'all remember the commercials, but it was, sporty, and it's a hybrid, and it's high mileage, and it's so much fun to drive. And in its best year, it sold 11,330 units. And then they dropped off significantly to 4,000 units, and then 4,500. And just last week, Honda has decided the CRZ is officially dead.
Wow.
So they have killed it, and they have made no announcement as to what it will be replaced with. So it gives the impression it's gone. There will not be a replacement.
I mean, it's a cool car, but it has no market because hybrid people don't want something that sporty and a two-seater,
Mm-hmm.
and the tuner kids don't want to drive a hybrid.
That's it, exactly. So in since they were trying to make a market for this car, they were trying to make it up and say, oh yeah, well there's got to be somebody out there who's really going to like this. No,
5,200 people, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going to make EVs.
Why did they
until
not
there's-
make it so that it was like a dual flavor car? It was a regular car, and then there was a hybrid option. Wouldn't that have taken care of the tuner kids?
Yeah.
People that want?
The other issue is two-seaters are a tough sell. I mean, it's a limited market.
Yeah. It kind of looked, to me it still does, but it looks like the, see if I can bring up a picture. It looks like the evolution, in my opinion, of the
I already
original.
showed a bunch of pictures, Tony.
Oh, I was looking at the my website. To
From
me,
the
it
old
looked like
PRS.
the evolution of the original Insight.
Right.
That two-seater hatchback, two-door, sort of a grown-up version of that.
Here's what I don't get. So, I mean, again, this is like and I keep saying this about Honda, and I love Honda. I think they make some great cars, but they just don't seem to have any kind of leadership. They just seem to be like flailing around. And I get that it's a two-seater and it's a limited market, and God knows the CRZ was a failure, but it was a failure because it was a bad sports car and it was a bad hybrid. It didn't do either one very well. So, I'm sorry, was it Paul or was it Mark that suggested, Paul, they should have made a gas version?
No,
I
Mark
said
said that, but yeah, that
Or maybe even the more obvious thing is, rather than kill it because it's a cool design, why don't they just put a better hybrid system in it?
Right.
Which leads me to speculate, maybe Honda's not capable of putting a better hybrid system.
they do have one good hybrid car that's out now or about to be out, the NSX Acura, the supercar.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
That's technically a hybrid.
I'll run out and get that.
How much is that technical hybrid?
Oh, it's about $200,000, I think. But,
Yeah.
They just had it on the British Top Gear this week, a review of it, and it looks like a pretty fun car to drive. But
Oh, yeah.
a couple
For
$200,000.
$200,000.
And in England, it's actually badged as a Honda because Acura doesn't exist over there. So you go in, what kind of car do you drive? Yeah, I drive a Honda. It costs $200,000. But but you know, it looks like a really fun car.
Could I just have an old CRZ with $180,000 in the glove box?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Is that too much to ask?
Yeah. See, and you know, this is the thing. To say that it wasn't a good hybrid, and they say, well, what makes a good hybrid? Well, I'll tell you, getting more than 34 or 36 or 39 miles per gallon. I mean, that was it. You know what else gets high 30s miles per gallon? Just about every sedan that's on the road right now.
Oh.
Hybrid or not, and I mean, I'm being, hyperbolic, but 30s, really? 30s? That's table stakes.
Wait. Here. I just posted this today, just an hour or two ago. So here's there you go.
Yeah.
That's from my Facebook page. That was a trip I took today.
In a Corolla, wasn't it?
In my Corolla.
41.8 miles per gallon.
Okay, and I'm not.
So you blew away the Honda hybrid.
Yeah. I'm going 70 miles an hour on I-75.
Mm-hmm.
So which by the way is the speed limit. And if you're going, there's another rant there somewhere about why can't I do 70 in the right lane and survive. I'm not going to go into that today. Suffice to say, yeah. I mean, Tony, yes, you're right.
Ooh, so that's my one. All right, I had to wait till July, but I was right.
Did you have to wait until July? Have you not been right until then?
No one admitted it. Yeah. So so long, CRZ, and can't say we didn't see it coming. It was at least 5 years too late.
Yeah, I hope Honda gets their act together. I really do. I keep saying that every year. Oh, maybe this year they'll make something. No.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is with them. But let's go to a happier story. And our final story tonight. How about Mark?
Well, since this is the Canadian show, we thought we would get into.
Canada! That's all the song I know.
Honda's making a Chesterfield car in Canada.
That's correct. Yes.
The Honda
With serviettes.
With serviettes, yes.
The GM Canada is going to be hiring 700 engineers in a self-driving car push. So as mentioned
push the
before,
car.
Everyone is getting into the self-driving car. All the manufacturers are. But actually, there was a large announcement I made about 3 weeks ago about GM coming and opening up 3 centers for this, where these 700 engineers will join the current 300. And there'll be one in the suburbs of Toronto, Oshawa, and there will be one in downtown Toronto and one in Kitchener, where I reside. So it's interesting that they're starting to roll this out, and they're doing it with the Bolt, they're doing it with the Volt, and some other unnamed cars as well. So it was a big deal. They had the Prime Minister of Canada and the Premier of Ontario announcing it with Mark Russ, Executive Vice President of GM, was in town to make the announcement. So it's a plus for engineers and jobs in the Ontario area, and we look forward to it.
Cool.
Well, isn't there like a whole ton of engineers in the Kitchener-Waterloo area? Isn't it a pretty smart part of the country?
Well, it is the Silicon Valley of the North, so there's many people in that sector from the University of Waterloo and Wilfrid Laurier University. So it's and of course we've had some success in this area with startups, BlackBerry and others, Open Text and some other notables that are in play here. So it is a bit of a software hotbed of activity here in Kitchener-Waterloo.
And by Silicon Valley, you mean snowy tundra.
Yes.
Only half the year, Tony. Half the year.
Okay.
So Mark, are you going to GM? I'm just, you're there.
Am I going there? What do you mean?
I don't know.
Have they offered you a job?
Yeah.
They have not offered me a job.
Oh, those bastards.
But I will say that I'd be happy to drive the first autonomous Bolt. So I'll just get that out there now. But I will keep my fingers on the steering wheel.
Don't they realize those cars kill people?
But it would be good to test them in Canada because you have extreme winter conditions that, if a car can't see a white truck, what's it going to see in a white blizzard? When you can't see the road, you can't see the sky. So those are things they're going to have to deal with.
There's a number of different manufacturers that are doing some testing in Michigan, in Ontario, because snow's a fact of life here. Even in Mortonias, even in Chicago, it's a fact of life. So you've got to be able to handle these issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can say what you want about things being designed down in the Sun Belt, but they don't work everywhere.
Right.
Exactly.
So. Well, thanks for that, Mark, and congratulations, I guess, or enjoy your new dynamic engineering space.
Yes.
Hopefully we will see an autonomous Volt, and hopefully Mr. Coughlin will get to drive it.
To the furniture store.
To pick up my Chesterfield, yes.
Go to Tepperman's, plug it in, go inside, walk, high-five them, tell them, order a new Chesterfield. I don't know what else to say.
They're going to give Paul a free one, but unfortunately they have to ship it from here, so it's going to end up costing the same anyways.
Yeah. You get it. Yeah. Ouch. Well, let's do some shout-outs and go home, gentlemen. I think we've worked hard tonight.
Yep.
I think we have. Mark, I'm gonna just because you're wound up, you're ready to go. Why don't you kick us off, my friend?
Well, just say hello to the Waterloo Regional Voltech group. If you want to follow Volt issues and pictures and discussions, please follow us on Twitter at WRVoltech. And just one other little thing I will throw up. It's a bit of an anniversary for me with my Volt today.
Oh.
So I'm just going to throw up a picture here. And you can see I've had the car now for 23 months.
Oh.
And I have used a total of 500 liters of fuel.
What's that in American?
3,200 kilometers and an average of 1.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, I knew what show I'm on. So
I'm sorry. You just
speak American, man?
I think it's still 502 liters, even in the U.S.
So I will switch it over to the miles per gallon so everyone can see that.
Wait, let me put that back on percent. There we go. See, now there's something that makes sense to us Americans. So 152 mpg, is that all?
That is, and it keeps
that's
going
lifetime.
down.
That's including the winter and everything.
Yeah.
That's including 2 winters.
Wow.
So
That's
the car is performing very well. I'm extremely pleased with the mileage and the lack of gas that I have to put in the car.
Why doesn't GM do commercials with guys like you and say, I've had this car for 2 years, I've averaged 152 miles per gallon, this thing rocks,
Yeah, 132 gallons. An average, let's break this down. So let's say you have an average sedan with a, 15-gallon tank.
Right.
And I know that before I got the Prius, I was filling up,
You've only
almost
filled up like
once.
8 times, or not
Yeah,
10.
but I filled up weekly, let's say 15 gallons, and so that's this would be 10 weeks for the average person. It would be 2.5 months of gas, and you've done that in
2 years.
22 years, 23 months.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know why people don't jump all over this. This is the best thing since sliced bread. I really believe it. And I was pretty sure before I got the car, but here's the proof.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's beautiful, though. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, great job.
Congratulations. Wow. So follow Mark at WR Voltec, at WR Voltec. No K at the end, just TEC on Twitter. Mr. Schaefer.
Well, I went to, as always, I want to remind people of our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/whatdrivesus. And, also articles. We post. We now have our official Flipboard magazine. Now, this is the interesting part. It used to be my magazine called Green Rides, and then I rebranded it to be What Drives Us. And what is funny is that sometimes when I load it, it comes up as Green Rides, and sometimes as What Drives Us. So I don't know if it has on my end with the cache in the browser or on Flipboard's end, but look for What Drives Us. Hopefully you'll be able to find it, and you'll see articles we talk about on the show, as well as other articles that just come up that are just interesting.
Wow. I'm still looking at the Scorpion car that Patrick posted on What Drives Us earlier in the week. I missed that somehow. I love our page. Facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Let's go to Paul Guzik. Hey, Paul.
All right. Well, a shout out to my beer sponsor tonight, Modus Mandarina. It's a IPA with a little bit of where are we here? A little bit of hint of orange in it. It was quite tasty, and it's from Durango, Colorado. Kind of far away from here, but supporting our local state breweries.
All right.
And then I'm going to plug my business like I always do. Boulder Hybrids, our website's boulderhc.com, and we work on hybrid cars and EVs all along the Front Range. Well, we actually only work on them in Boulder, but you can bring us your car if you live along the Front Range. And we do get cars towed down from Fort Collins, and people drive up from Colorado Springs and everywhere in between.
And they do that because you're awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul won't say that, but I'll say that. He's the dude.
We have happy customers.
If you're anywhere in Colorado, anywhere near, you want to take your car to Boulder.
And especially if you go to the dealer and get a crazy estimate, call us for a second opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a customer just this week had a $4,200 repair estimate from the dealer. Brought us the car. It cost him less than $400 to fix the car.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Luckily, he was smart enough to get a second opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's criminal.
He only saved $3,800 though.
Yeah.
Is that worth it?
Well, he did have to tow his car to Boulder from Fort Collins, which maybe costs $120.
Yeah,
he could have flew it in from Australia.
Yeah, first class maybe. Wow. That's a nuts. Well, as always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Visit us at whatdrives.us. You can download or stream the show in audio or video format there. That's whatdrives.us. Of course, we're also available on your favorite podcatcher application, whether that's iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher or Slacker or Buffer or Pooper or whatever they're called. Yeah, I'm showing my age here. But if you got one of those ding-dang podcast things, we're there. Search What Drives Us. And if you do subscribe, for God's sake, subscribe. Give us a review. Hook us up. It's that hard. I mean,
tell your friends.
Show for free.
Yeah. If we have a deal going on right now that if you go into iTunes or one of your podcatchers and you give us a positive review, we will refund your subscription price.
And give you a free Honda CRZ.
Yes.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. Courtesy
That
of
was
Boulder Hybrids.
Courtesy of Honda America.
that's only if you gave us a good review prior to September 18th of last year.
Last year, right, yeah. So those of you that can
While
hack
you
into
own
the
a
Apple,
VW diesel.
Yeah.
that's it. We're going to give them a TDI. Merry Christmas. Here's a car on the way to the Sudan. So anyway, that's whatdrives.us. As always, I want to thank my amazing panelists. Thank you, my friends, for coming on the show and being amazing.
Always fun.
I can't do it without you, because without you guys, it would be a really horrible show. It would look, let's see, like that. No, like that. Yeah, that thing there. No, there, that. Yeah, that's horrible. That's what the show would look like. That's a metaphor, kids. Okay, I went to school. So until then, download us next week and find out what drives us. Still no title card. I don't think I'm going to make one. I'm just going to rebel against authority this week.
What
Ready?
episode was it this week?
Episode
192.
192. We're done. We're out of here. We'll see you next week.